So I am going to talk about the Western Lake Erie Basin Community Advisory Group, and a lot of people in the, actually, everyone who's in the advisory group, stand up. Yeah, see, there's a bunch of people here. Yeah, so anyway, this is the advisory group. And if you know them, like, they're nice people. They have information about this group that I'm sure they're happy to share. So ask them questions, see if you want to get involved, let me know. But I'm going to talk a little bit about this now. So as a reminder, my name is Allison, and I'm based out of the University of Michigan's Water Center, and I am managing this group. So the idea for the Community Advisory Group was developed by Michigan's quality of life agencies to recognize the importance of increased public engagement in meeting their goal of reducing phosphorus by 40%. This group was recruited and is now facilitated by the University of Michigan Water Center to bring diverse perspectives together from across the Western Lake Erie Basin with the goal of facilitating information sharing and public input to adaptively manage Michigan's domestic action plan for Lake Erie. This is an iterative process where in the first half year of a 3-year process that will likely continue after that. And it's an iterative process where the state listens and responds to this multi-sector group. So this group was formed over this past summer, and we met for the first time in August 2023. And so what I'm describing here is the very early stages of this multi-year process. All right, so this advisory group is made up of participants who bring a range of perspectives to the table, including watershed councils, farmers, agriculture services, farmer associations, conservation districts, a property owners association, utilities, municipalities, environmental advocates, conservation organizations, regional planners, small businesses, and lake businesses. So as we create a network of networks, we hope that you will reach out to the members of your community who are actively serving on this advisory group. And if you're interested in serving, let me know. Like, as people come into new roles, if you're in a new role in your community and you think your community should be involved in this, please let me know. All right, so this group meets twice a year in person, and then once or twice a month for small group meetings and activities about topics of interest that group members bring up to us. So over the summer, I interviewed about 70 people in the watershed with the purpose of recruiting the advisory group and getting initial input for the community to start informing the updated domestic action plan, which has been written over the last couple of months. Through these interviews, the advisory group shared their perspectives with me, and I'm going to share a few things about what they said. And so this would have been when I talked to these folks in May and June, early in the process. All right, so I asked everybody why they were interested in participating in a community advisory group, and many of them shared stories and pictures demonstrating why they wanted to protect Lake Erie. And so one quote that I'm particularly fond of is, one member said, "Hearing that Lake Erie was in trouble again, where the algae blooms were choking the life out of the lake and creating dead zones and this nasty toxic algal bloom. That personally bothered me because I grew up fishing. I love Lake Erie, it's my spot, and the memories and all that. Knowing that we cleaned it once, so why have we put it in jeopardy again? I wanted to do what I could to help with the problem." And then a lot of people sent me pictures when I asked them this question. And so these are pictures that were submitted by advisory group members taken off the coast of Monroe County on Lake Erie. And the members who submitted these pictures were often impacted by algae blooms for months at a time during the summer and fall every year. All right, so I also asked them about their goals for the process, and they brought up 4 key goals. I'm going to go through them. So one was to coordinate efforts across organizations, which is one reason why we're having meetings like this, where we're getting everybody together and talking so that we know what each other's doing. So they said, we need a coordinated effort. There are tons of projects, districts, universities. Everyone is collecting data and putting out different trial practices and working on BMPs, but we don't have a cohesive focus for all of that data. And then someone else said, another goal was to use the DAP to meet water quality goals. They said, the DAP could be an effective guiding document to accelerate this to get to endpoints. Conservation on land leads to impacts on water. Another goal that came up a lot was to promote education about the algae on Lake Erie. For example, one member wanted to help spread the word. I'm not moving through these, am I? There we go. Okay. One member wanted to spread the word about the adverse impact of the algae situation on the lake and all the economies associated with it. And then the last key goal was to support growers to reduce phosphorus losses from farms. For example, they said they wanted to help growers take the next step to being more conservation friendly and implement conservation practices on more acres to reduce potential runoff. All right, so when I was interviewing people, they also identified key barriers to meeting the state's 40% reduction goal in phosphorus. So for example, many members mentioned the lack of water quality monitoring to evaluate progress. For example, they said, investing in research and monitoring, you don't know what you don't measure. We need a balance between funding monitoring and funding solutions. And we know that we can't feasibly monitor every body of water. Someone else said, there is disjointed data across watersheds over short periods of time. We need long-term programs to detect real changes and understand what's going on. And almost everybody I talked to pointed out staffing shortages in all sectors. I'm sure many of you feel this every day. There are not enough boots on the ground to implement the projects, including recruiting farmers, implementing projects, and evaluating outcomes. For example, one member said boots in the groundwork is lacking. We need people to promote and implement the DAP actions. And then many also talked about how funding is either not enough or it's not flexible enough to use where it's needed. For example, projects were tied to grants, and grants will only allow a certain percentage of staff time to go to on-the-ground work. And then finally, members discussed the lack of trust and cohesive effort. So like identifying a disconnect between groups who have common goals but are not necessarily working together yet. And one member said, we lack this shared collective vision that we're all working towards. And so these were all things people said early on in the process. And I've already seen a lot of action being taken on a lot of these from the state, and we're having gatherings like this, which is addressing a lot of the concerns that people brought to me early in this process. So it's exciting to see how things change over time. And then there's one more thing I want to share that I thought was interesting and sort of keeps coming up over and over again is this education issue. And so I talked to a lot of people about how to get the word out about the algae bloom, because a lot of people don't know about how phosphorus works, or they don't know that there even is an algae bloom in Lake Erie every summer and fall. And so people suggested creating classrooms in which every student in the Western Lake Erie Basin, all of the primary schools, could get exposed to this sort of education. And there are good examples of this that are already functioning that we can draw from to use here in this particular geography. Okay, so we had our first meeting on August 3rd of this year. We had 38 community advisory group members attend and 12 state agency representatives. And the goals for this meeting were to build community, foster trust between the state and the advisory group, and generate input for the 2023 Domestic Action Plan through a series of presentations, panels, Q&A sessions, networking, and small group discussions. And the advisory group is meeting again tomorrow with the staff from the Quality of Life agencies, many of whom are in the room today, and our science panel, who you're about to hear from. So based on feedback from the advisory group after the August meeting, the members were looking for more small group activities and discussions and opportunities for networking between the government agency staff and the advisory group members. So I organized a couple of events this fall, and these are some pictures for some of them. So we had a field day where we learned about sustainable agriculture at Carpenter Farms right here in Adrian, and this is a picture of us there. And then we also had 55 people attend a Zoom meeting to discuss the meaning of regenerative agriculture in the Western Lake Erie Basin. And then we also had small group breakout discussions there, where agency staff and community advisory group members were able to interact in a small group setting. And we also have plans to visit the Great Lakes Water Authority wastewater recovery facility in the new year, and we will plan events as people ask me to. Yeah, so please reach out to me if you have any questions or if you would like to get involved in this group. You can access our website with this QR code and learn more about our list of members.